everyone, Thomas here and welcome back to another video. So today I'm back here for one of my weekly 64 by 64 lot mansion builds, and today we're going to go ahead and create this one called Redwood Estate. So if you'd like to go ahead and download this for yourself, it is up on the gallery now. My origin ID is real Thomas TV1. So I'm going to go ahead and put a card on screen now with some information about this build. So it came in at 441,050 simoleons. It has 7 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and I built it on the 64 by 64 lot in Brindleton Bay, and it took me 2 hours and a half to do this. Now, 2 hours and a half, it doesn't seem like a long time, but for me that is a very, very long time. Normally these 64 by 64 lots take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I mean it's only an extra, half an hour on, but it still did take quite a bit of time, and I did feel it when I was doing it as well. Like, it just felt like it was taking a long time. I don't really know why though. Actually, maybe because the actual house portion of this particular build was a bit bigger, and because sometimes I do the houses a little bit smaller and then lots of like outdoor space and landscaping and stuff. But this one was a little bit bigger on the interior this time, so that's probably one of the reasons why. But I'm still really happy how it turned out actually. So it's more of like an autumnal theme to it, as you can probably tell from the thumbnail, because now we're getting to the autumn season. It's more appropriate to do the autumn builds and stuff. I mean, this is only in the Northern Hemisphere though, so I suppose it's not really relevant for everybody, but I really love doing autumn builds. It's my favourite season in real life as well. Not so much the weather, but just the fact that, all the nice colours and stuff are just really nice. And it's like, I really like doing autumn builds, and then when seasons first came out, I did loads of them, especially mansion builds as well. But I kind of like went away from them and started doing more like just builds in the summertime in game, but now it's kind of autumn here in the Northern Hemisphere. I feel like it's a good excuse for me to go ahead and do some more autumn builds, but you will see that we're kind of chop and change. Is that the right term? I feel like it is, but I'm not too sure. Between autumn and summer, like as you can see here right now, we've just jumped into autumn. I was kind of just doing this to, well, I actually worked on this over a few days actually. Well, actually it was more than a few days. Hang on, let me check when the first clip I recorded was. It was the 21st of August that I finished, well, sorry, when I started doing it. And then the last clip I recorded for it was on, hang on, why can't I find it? I've just got so many things in my project file here. And the last clip was on the 5th of September. So I spent like a little bit of time on this. Actually what I do is sometimes is that I get really in the mood to do a load of exteriors. So at the minute I have like 4 mansion builds exteriors done. So that's like 4 builds of weeks. Sorry, that 4 builds of weeks. 4 weeks of builds for the mansion builds at least kind of done already. Just the exteriors though, because I really love doing the exteriors the most. So I end up doing loads of exteriors, and I always just kind of, come back later to do the interior. And that was the case with this as well, because I started recording quite a bit in advance because I was in the mood to do an autumn build, but it wasn't ready to go up. So that's what happened there. And I'm actually kind of more happy with the backyard area today, because I think it was in the suburbia build I did, which should have went up 2 days ago from when you see this video. Now I'm trying to avoid saying that sort of stuff, like when this video went up, I did this video in that time, whatever, that sort of like time relevant stuff, because what always ends up happening is that I have like a plan of this video is going to go up on this day, so I do the voiceover, talk about things relevant to that day and what's been happening in this particular day before and stuff like that, and then plans will change and stuff, and then I'll end up having to like sometimes redo the voiceover if it's like so bad, because then the time relevant stuff is just not applicable anymore and it sounds odd. I feel like most people, well, I was actually talking to my friend Spring Sims yesterday. We talk on Discord like all the time, because like probably every week we spend like 2 hours talking to each other, at least like in one time. But since he's went back to college, we haven't been talking as much. So yesterday was like the first time we've talked in like a week and a half, and we're kind of just talking about this type of thing that I was just mentioning about time relevant stuff. And he was saying that I feel like most people understand it. So I'm not going to worry too much if I end up, not getting the video up on the day I planned it to. But anyway, so here we are working on the landscaping. As you can see, we've got a lot of red colours in here. I used a lot of those I forgot what they're called. Those big red plants there that you can see from Romantic Garden stuff. I forget what they're called. They're like Duralium, something like that. Begins with a D. Anyway, so that plant, I used it quite a lot here because it kind of just fit the place nice. But when I was going to take the screenshot, I realised how many of them I put in the build, and it looked absolutely ridiculous. So I had to go through and take a few of them out because it just looked ridiculous. I can't even explain it. So I did kind of, do that. But I'm still really happy how it turned out, like I said. And like I was just mentioning before, the landscaping in, well, just that actual backyard area is, you know, kind of nice, because I've been kind of struggling with it a little while, because it was in the Suburbia build, like I just mentioned before. I was kind of, well, at least I think it is. I was saying about how I'm kind of like in a funk with these type of garden areas for some reason, not in just the mansion builds, just in all builds recently. I just been really struggling to kind of decide on what I want to do with the space and stuff, and it always just turns out being really amateurish. But I spent a little bit more time on the sorry, I keep saying landscape instead of backyard area. I spent a little bit more time in the backyard area today, which kind of just allowed me to kind of think about it a little bit more. And it ended up, the end result turned out really nice. So we're just working on a little bit of kind of seating here. Now, I wasn't really too sure if I should put this in, because it isn't, I mean, it's more of a summary type of thing to put those kind of lounge chairs in. But I was thinking, you know what, you're only going to have autumn in your build, sorry, not in your build, oh my god, I keep messing words up today. You're only going to have autumn in your game for either 7, 14 or 28 days. So it's not like, you know, you're going to not need them, if that makes sense, because when it comes to summertime, it's more like, you know, relevant to have it. And even in autumn in game, you know, some worlds have, you know, really warm autumns, so it's not like a big problem, I don't think. So right here, we're doing a greenhouse. Now, I don't know why, but recently, I've just not been doing greenhouses. I feel like everybody, since we've got the glass roofs, has been obsessed with doing you know, greenhouses and stuff, but I've been like just not doing them for some reason. I don't know why. So I thought today, you know what, let's just go ahead and do one, because I feel like, you know, it can be kind of nice to have it sometimes, because, you know, it's just something good to, if you like gardening in game and stuff, and it's not really the right season, it's a great thing to have. So I just kind of added it in for the practicality of the build, I suppose, especially if it's going into autumn as well. So we're just doing a little landscaping around here, and this is kind of off the side of the build because there wasn't really enough space in the garden area, but they just, you know, sometimes have a lot of like empty space around the corners of the lot and stuff, and around the back corners and stuff, so you know, it's not really much of a big deal, I don't think. So, kind of going away from the build for a second, I wanted to mention this today and kind of get your opinions on it, because I've seen a lot of speculation about what the next pack could be. Now, I am an EU game changer, but that doesn't mean I know anything about the next pack. This is just totally like speculation like everybody else is doing. So, I've seen like a lot of people say it's University, and I have a feeling that's probably a good possibility it'll be that, because I noticed a little while ago, I got a Max's favourite on a modern dorm room build I did on the gallery, and I felt like it was a little bit odd, because I feel like, you know, The Sims would maybe stay away from that sort of, you know, kind of themed stuff that we don't have in game, if that makes sense, to kind of, you know, just stop people talking about, you know, that sort of stuff. But I got a Max's favourite on that, and then there's this series going on the Sims' Instagram called The Sims with Samai Shuno, and I noticed my friend Miss Griffey Tonya from Miss Griffey, she went ahead and got hers featured on there actually, and I noticed that her storyline was about college, and I was like, that's really odd again, because I feel like The Sims wouldn't do that, just kind of, you know, because then loads of people in the comment section would speculate about, you know, university, and like, is this a hint, is this that, you know? So I feel like it's a good possibility to be that, and I really don't know what else it could be. Like, I was really hoping that we'll get some time, like somewhere you can be like famous, like you're sort of like the Sims 3 Showtime. I would really love that. So that'd be a really good thing I'd love to, you know, see in The Sims 4. So either one of those two I'd be really happy with. You know what, to be honest, I'm just happy with anything we get. I'm not really like, you know, not bothered about anything. I'm just grateful to have anything we get, really, even if it's something small or big, a stuff pack, an expansion. I'm just grateful for everything, because it's more build items for me to use. So that's also another thing as well. When we're getting since I've been doing builds a lot, and now I've kind of turned into a build channel, instead of doing like gameplay videos, I noticed that when I'm thinking about upcoming packs, the first thing that comes to mind is what possible build mode items could we get with this pack, and that's the first thing that comes to mind. So, you know, when we're hearing about witches and stuff like that people have been speculating as well for a possible game pack, I'm not like totally excited about that. I mean, of course, when we get it and we see the trailers and stuff, I'll be really excited, but just the idea of it isn't that appealing to me, because I feel like, what could I build, you know, all the time using this pack? Like, I can't really think of something. Because, you know, the stuff like seasons and cats and dogs that I use in every single one of my builds. When I think about witches, I'm like, would that really fit into my particular type of, you know, build style and stuff? I don't know, but once we get it, I know I'll be fine with it, and it'll be great. It's just kind of the thought of it. Let me know if you're like that as well. And yeah, so I also just wanted to mention, somebody on Twitter, well, today for me, actually, when I'm recording this voiceover, sent, because I was actually, what build was it? I think it was in the Suburbia build as well, like I mentioned. I was actually asking, do people actually use my builds? Because I'd love to see kind of like some screenshots with your Sims in your builds and stuff like that. And this person on Twitter, I'm going to try and find the Twitter DM about it, just to mention their name, because they sent me actually some screenshots of their blog posts that they have, where they make kind of like Sims 4 stories, about their Sims, and they actually used one of my houses. It was called the, what was it, Springwell or Springside Manor I did. It was a very long time ago. I actually remember my friend Stephanie from Simarchy actually toured it on a YouTube channel for a series that she did. So this person is called Lime Tiger, oh god I can't speak, sorry, Lime Tiger 91, and they actually sent me some screenshots of their blog post at my house, which was really, really nice to see actually. So thank you for sending me that. It was really nice to see. So if you're like that as well and you've used one of my houses and you maybe used it in an LP or on a, you know, a blog post, or you just got screenshots of it or something, I'd really love to see that. You can feel free to kind of, well, it might actually get marked with spam if you put it in the comment section, but you could even just email it to me or just send me as a Twitter DM, because my Twitter DMs are open publicly, or even just send it as a public reply as well. It's totally up to you, because I love to see that. And yeah, so we're now onto the interior. As you can see, we'll have worked on a few things such as the bathrooms and the hallways, which is something that I always take out of my speed build footage. It's just a very repetitive and boring process, so I just never really bother with it in the speed builds, unless it's like a very short build, and then I might include it. So this is actually a very, very large kitchen. I wasn't really planning on making it that big, so it turned out way bigger than I thought it was going to be, but you know what, it's still alright actually. It's just, well, because I've been doing the house portions of my mansion builds a little bit smaller, it was kind of something that I wasn't used to doing in such a long time, because, you know, in the past, my mansion builds used to be absolutely ginormous in terms of the house portion, so I was used to making things on a bigger scale, but it was kind of just like a shock to the system to go back to, you know, kitchens bigger than like a suburban build itself, but I'm really happy how the kitchen turned out regardless. It was just a bit more spacious, I suppose, than my normal ones. So this room right here is the formal dining room area, and it does actually have like a double 8-seater tables, like 2 8-seaters put together, so 16 Sims can sit there. So if you have a big dinner party or something, that'd be a great thing to have. And also there is like one of those little octagonal, wait, that didn't make sense, octagonal, why can't I say that word, rooms on the side of, like on the corner of the build, so that also has like a little seating area in that room too. And now we're just working on this area here, which is a very random room. This is actually the garage area, which I converted into just a general activities room, which is what I normally do in my builds anyway, is turn it into a normal functional room. So it does have a gym area, it does have another little seating area, it also has a bar and also like a gaming table, I believe. And then we'll also just have a little laundry room there, as you can see, if that's something you'd like to play with. Now, I know there quite a lot of mixed opinions about laundry. I always tend to include them in my builds when it comes to the bigger ones. When it's a smaller build, I don't normally include it as much, because it's like sometimes I don't have the space to put a laundry room in, and I know some people would do it in bathrooms, but it never really works out for me for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, so there's a lot of mixed opinions about it. Me personally, I have always used laundry in my current households, which to be honest I don't have. You know, I don't play the game that often anyway, but I've been playing the current household recently, and they have, you know, laundry and stuff, but I've been getting a lot of issues with it. It's a lot of like, you know, the laundry machines keep breaking and the dryer and stuff, and then, you know, if I'm drying something, it'll like break, and then it'll change to the cleanliness, change to used and damp, and it's really frustrating because everything keeps breaking all the time, and honestly it feels like just a waste of time just for your Sims to get a moodlet, if that makes sense. I feel like the system needs a bit of an update before I use it again, but it was just a bit frustrating. I do really like the idea of it though. I'm really glad I have it, because me as a builder, it means another room I can put in the house to make it more realistic, but at the same time it is a bit frustrating to play with, so I'm hoping that maybe in an update we will kind of, you know, get that fixed. I did actually mention to Sim Guru Graham about it and he took note of it. So hopefully we'll get that fixed and I can play with it again. So as you can see, we're now onto the interior, and you can see that we're actually using some curtains from Cats and Dogs. Now I don't know why, but I've never really used those Cats and Dogs curtains. I just feel like they looked a little bit too old-fashioned, but I actually found some really nice brown colour swatches from that particular curtain, which I never really knew about, or I just kind of never really bothered using because I always used the Seasons ones, but I actually found them and they fit really nicely with a lot of colour schemes I do, because as much as I love the Seasons curtains, sometimes they don't really fit in that well with a lot of builds I do. in terms of the colour swatches I'm using and stuff in particular rooms. So it's really nice to kind of discover that, which is, I mean, it's not really like a groundbreaking thing, it's just, wait, did I just say a groundbreaking? A groundbreaking thing, that's what I was supposed to say. It's just something that I haven't really came across and used, but it's really nice actually. So we're just working on another one of the bedrooms here, and like I do in most MSP builds, the bedrooms are very neutral. I don't like to make them for specific sims because I make these builds for you to download, and when I go and start making things specific, so you know, this room is going to be for a toddler, this room is going to be for a kid who's interested, and this and that, making very specific builds are kind of, it sort of like restricts the amount of usage I can get from people downloading it, which, you know, it isn't like, oh my god, I really need to get as many downloads as possible. It's more of just, you know, I'm making these all the time for you, so it's best for me just to make them more neutral for you to download, and then you can change it up to your sims that you like to. And, you know, sometimes it is kind of nice to do, you know, themed rooms, which I sometimes do, but, you know, not that often. And yeah, so we're just working on a couple of more bedrooms here. I feel like that is the rest of the rooms we've got to do, because we've got like the laundry room, I've got the office, the living room, kitchen, everything like that. So I think it's just, you know, the bedrooms left to do. I'm also really interested to hear if anybody has any more build ideas for these mansion builds, because there is some weeks where I'm kind of struggle for ideas because I feel like I've done everything. I mean, in terms of suburban builds, because you know, I could do other architectural types, but I'm just not really too sure what. So let me know if you have any ideas, because I'm always really happy when people send me ideas, because I can sometimes really struggle to think of build ideas. So feel free to let me know on any of the social medias linked down below, comment section, Twitter, email, whatever you want. And yeah, so we're going to be going on to the screenshots now. So I really hope you enjoyed today's build. If you did, in the comment section down below, let me know about what you thought of it. Leave a like, share and subscribe if you haven't, and if you want to go ahead and download this from the gallery, it is up there now. My origin ID is real Thomas TV1, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!